It was a couple of years ago, and I was sitting backstage at a large conference center waiting to be introduced to speak at a national counseling convention. And right then, friends came up with a group of teenage girls, and Jennifer Barrick was among them. They quickly told me her story, at which point, oh my goodness, I was so amazed. And before they parted, right before I went out on stage to speak, Jennifer asked if she could pray for me. Now, I cannot quite explain this, but her prayer, it was so tender, it was so sweet, it was so poignant and powerful and so voiced straight from her heart. I knew right then that this young woman enjoyed an exceptional relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's why I was drawn to Jen in the beginning. But it was also clear from the beginning that Jennifer was still dealing with her disability and all the issues that go with it. Life for this young woman was obviously not easy. And of course, given my own disability, my quadriplegia as a result of a diving accident so many years ago when I was a teenager, given my disability and our work at Johnny and Friends with special needs families, there was an immediate kinship, a connection that bound me to the Barricks. And when I see Jennifer, I see myself so many decades ago. And I remember the people who came alongside me, people who God used to open doors of opportunity and expand the platform on which I was able to then share my story. I look back and I thank God for these dear friends. And I want to be that kind of person in Jennifer Barrick's life. I want to help open doors of opportunity, telling people about her story and sharing her testimony so that her influence for Jesus Christ will grow far and wide. How far? How wide? Well, all Jennifer has to do is keep focusing on deepening her walk with Christ, and God will take care of widening the sphere of her influence. As she works on the depth of her ministry, God will take care of the breadth of her ministry. And I'm just grateful that I get to sit on the sidelines and cheer her on, pray for her and her family, and enjoy watching it all happen.
On November 5th, 2006, while driving home from church, the Barrick family from Virginia was struck head-on by a drunk driver going 80 miles an hour. Andy, Linda, 15-year-old Jen, and her 11-year-old brother Joshua sustained life-threatening injuries. All four were rushed to different hospitals. Jen, the most seriously injured, was not expected to live through the night, but God miraculously intervened. Andy Barrick remembers that night 5.5 years ago, when family and friends were waiting at their home for what was going to be a happy time of fellowship together after what had been a wonderful day.
We stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I received a call from my brother saying, "Where are you guys? We're sitting here in your driveway." I said, "They ran out of chicken. We ordered so much they had to make some more." You'll understand in a minute. Anything could have prevented what happened. We were in Kentucky Fried Chicken. We jumped in the car and raced home to be with our friends and family. Little did we know someone had been drinking all day long. He had already hit somebody, kept going. The person he hit called 911 and was on with 911 for a half hour saying, "Get out here, this guy's gonna kill somebody. He's running red lights, he's going off the side of the road." It's unbelievable when you listen to it. He goes into a neighborhood, into a cul-de-sac, turns around and comes out to a light that we're very familiar with, and he passes out. His blood alcohol level is 0.33. In the state of Virginia, 0.08 is legally drunk, so he's over 4 times the legal limit, and he's passed out. Law enforcement arrives on the scene. They wake him up. They get him out of the vehicle. They ask for ID. He has no ID. This is his 4th offense. They interrogate him. They put him back in the vehicle, and they walk over to talk with the gentleman who had been hit and was on 911. Gentleman rolls down the window. The officer says, we're dealing with an extremely intoxicated individual. About that time, he cranks up the truck and takes off, and he comes at us 80 miles an hour with his lights off. We still don't know what happened. When he hit us, the impact was 125 miles per hour. He dropped the engine out of his truck and ran over our van. Literally, over our van. So our lives were changed in an instant. The reason I give you that detail is because I want you to know what happened November 5th. And we now know, as we turn around and we look back, that it was God's plan. It could have been prevented, but I'm telling you tonight, there may be one person in here that God in his sovereignty was looking down saying, I'm going to allow that to happen so the Barricks touch your heart tonight. That's why we're here. We love being here, but I tell you what, I would have done anything to miss him. Every day has been a struggle. God, you're sovereign. We know that. But we still have the pain and the hurt. So if you are here tonight and you're hurting, physically, we've been there. We were crushed. Emotionally, we've been there. Just getting out of bed. Everything that we did from a daily standpoint, everything that we take for granted was taken. And we had to rely totally on the Lord. 2.5 months later, we go home. We didn't go home for 2.5 months. First time I go home, I wheel in. My parents took me. There's a plate on our counter that has the verse, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. All of a sudden it was like, bang, Andy. That was on the plate when we went home for the first time. I just bawled. God, you called us to this.